Hey guys. So a friend and coworker of mine the other day said to me, I was trying to encourage them to join the Somewhere Today series and vlog, and he said, well, that's easy for you. You always look so glamorous. So I'm not sure what vlogs of mine he has been watching. But so I decided that I would set a good example, and I have a cold. And for those of you who follow me on different social media, you know that actually for the first time in my entire life, the kids' entire life, Brianne's entire life, pneumonia swept through the household, and me and Brianne and Faith all came down with pneumonia. And in some interesting twist of fate, as Faith got better and as I got better, we both now have colds or flu or something. But so we're kind of hoping Brianne is still at the end of her 10-day of medication for pneumonia. So we're hoping that she doesn't then rebound and get a cold as well. So we did the Lysol treatment of the entire house. But I just thought, I would be fair and show that I am far from glamorous. I certainly don't light myself in the best way or use a fancy camera. I love shooting on my iPhone 5S. I think that's not a shout out to Apple or whatever. It's just the phone that I like to shoot on. So, but today what I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about, because it's been on my mind and I wonder if it's been on yours, is this idea of artifice. It's funny because we often will assign staff members or crew to projects that need staff or crew when a DeMarco can't step in. And sometimes there was this one particular person that I kept assigning, and people would come to me afterward and say, it's just not a good fit. It's not a good fit. I don't really feel comfortable around them. I'm like, well, can you give me a concrete example? Was something said? Was something done? And they're like, no, it's just their demeanor. It's just like the way they speak to other people. And I'm like, did they say something inappropriate? No, it's just kind of this demeanor. And I'm like, oh, that is so fascinating. And it's kind of like when we talk about, like if we say someone is stereotypical politician, they have this slickness to them that we just intrinsically don't trust. But if someone is like less polished, then they come across as like kind of podunk, right? So like what kind of politician do we actually want? Like we want a politician that comes across as authentic and human. Like people say, oh, I live my life so transparently. And then you're like, boy, but I know like X, Y, and Z about you. And so like, I know you don't, and that's really hard. So this has been on my mind a lot, is the artifice, the surface persona that people put on and wear out into the world. Because that is, of course, as we all know, those of us who are grown-ups and understand how human psychology works, that's armor. It's not that at the core of a human being, they're like this slick shyster that like doesn't speak the truth and is fast with a lie and fast to just say, oh, just kidding, I didn't really mean any of that. We know that those kind of surface personas that people wear, that's their armor. And I do often find myself wondering, wow, I wonder what like the real person is like. And sometimes, like especially when there's a big file uploading, and I know you guys hear me talk about this a lot, it is true. The machine that I work on, the laptop that I work on every day, is a really, really stable machine. But it is a Windows 7 machine, and so it is an older machine. It's just, I guess, I always choose stability over the next best thing, the hot new whatever machine. So sometimes when something is uploading or downloading, and so I can't really do a lot else on my machine, and I'm just kind of sitting there. Sometimes I'll read, and sometimes I have manuscripts to edit or to go over for Blue Forge Press. Or I can do email during that time, so if I still haven't done my email, I'll do that. But other times I just find myself kind of thinking, and I wonder, is there some hint to who someone really is in the kind of armor that they wear into the world? Like, one of the things that was really hard for me is when we first began with Blue Forge Films and we were doing Ghost Sniffers Inc. I just, in general, as a human being, I'm not big on public displays of affection. It's not because I'm ashamed to be a lesbian. I'm certainly not ashamed to be married to Brienne. I'm really proud to be seen with her, to go out with her. I don't in general like public displays of affection. Oh, like a bunch of like kissing or groping or things like that. But like sometimes I'm comfortable like holding hands, and sometimes I feel uncomfortable, and that's my own thing, But and I think it does have a lot to do with the fact that we do live in a small town. I know times are changing, so maybe my attitude about this will change. But when we were first doing Ghost Sniffers Inc., there was just one. I mean, we worked with literally hundreds of kids and their parents, right? But there was this one parent that sent me an email after being on set and said that their kiddo wasn't going to be on set anymore and wasn't going to reprise their character, and because the parent had figured out, not on set, but had figured out through whatever means that I was lesbian, and they weren't comfortable with that. And it's funny because I understand that there are different beliefs and religions, and this was a religious issue, that would have someone make that kind of decision. And we are an incredibly inclusive company, so like as you guys know, our content, we have a lot of very pro-Christian content, but it's inclusive. It's inclusive, not exclusive. So, but I took that so incredibly personally, and from that point on, whenever we had orientation days, there's a little pun there, I guess, but whenever we had orientation days when like new actors would be on set with their parents, or just new actors in general, like adult actors, I would be like, "Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer DeMarco. This is my wife, Brienne." And it's like I would go out of my way then, because I'm like, look, I don't want any surprises. I don't want people to ever think that I'm trying to hide something from them or anything like that. And that was about the same time that I like put my Facebook profile completely on public. And all of my social media was just very, very public, and I tried to just be as honest and authentic and myself as possible, so that people would know, I'm bossy and I'm kind of controlling, and I have a wide variety of friends, and I adore all of them equally, and I have friends that identify very, very feminist, and friends that identify as incredibly conservative and traditionalist, and just like in everything in between, religious, non-religious. It's just, I want to surround myself with real people, with a real representation of what our actual world is. Because I feel like if we can all get along and create and talk to each other, instead of just like in a huff and blowing each other off or shooting each other down like trolls on the internet, because that's just such a cowardly way, and it just leads to more ignorance, instead of reaching out to each other. So I feel like if we can all get along and make incredible projects together, then there is hope for the world, and there's hope for the world that I'm handing over to my children and their children's children. But it has been really, really interesting, because I know, like, one of the things that I always say is, hey, don't make me blush. I blush really easily. Like if I have to film actors kissing or something, I'll blush, and everyone will tease me like, you wrote the script, you wrote the script, or you're giving the direction, and here you are blushing. And I'm like, well, yeah, because, if actors are really doing their job, then there's chemistry between them, and it seems like an intimate moment, even though really I know it's not. So yeah, I'm going to blush, and I'm not going to hide that blush or like play it off or whatever. I'm going to be like, yeah, it makes me feel a little shy. But, at the same time, as you guys probably already know, I've done films like Black Bishop, Red Queen, where I appear nude, and, there's a faux sex scene and like all this kind of thing. So it's like, I know that in myself, I have these dichotomies, and that's who I am. And I try to just kind of be honest about that. And I know that I've said, hey, you guys, I live a relatively PG life. So, that's why I get shy and embarrassed easily. And lately I've been thinking about that statement. And I was thinking about specifically this article that I read about American women and how society tells us that if we want to be seen seriously and we want to be seen as professionals, we desexualize ourselves. And I was like, wow, have I been doing that with this joke that I live this PG lifestyle? Because of course, and I would hope anyone who actually knows me and has spent time with me and has moved kind of from that coworker zone into being a friend as well as a coworker, they know that that's far from the truth. I certainly do not live a PG lifestyle, especially since, I mean, you can get away with a lot more PG nowadays than I think you could even 10 or 20 years ago, but anyway. And, you know, I thought, well, that is important to, that I maybe stop making that joke. So I had decided I'm not going to make that joke, that jibe anymore. And I'm just going to, from now on, if I blush, you know, because I'm filming some kind of intimate scene or something like that, I'm just going to say, you know, you guys, you're really good. This is really believable. Your chemistry is excellent. Good work. Thank you so much for giving your all. And because I don't want to give people the wrong impression. Because that, to me, that would be a hypocrisy. And a dichotomy is one thing, but a hypocrisy is another. And I don't want that. I have active filmmakers working with me right now and authors working with me now that consider themselves radical feminists. And I have active filmmakers and writers right now, like I said, for lack of a better term, that consider themselves very conservative traditionalists. And I enjoy working with both of those extremes on the spectrum and everybody in between. But I myself am not a G or PG rated person. And I think if you are someone who follows my creative work, you know that I deal with issues that a lot of folks don't regularly deal with. And I deal with the same issues. I write about primarily the same issues over and over and over again from different angles. The trade-off that we face for being a creative person, the trade-off that we face when living with a chronic medical condition or disability, the death of a parent, drug use and the drug industry, and classism, sizeism, ageism. I'm never going to stop dealing with these kinds of things. These are the realms that I feel comfortable exploring, and I know that then places some of my work outside the realm of what some of my dearest friends watch. And that doesn't make me sad, it just reminds me that I have a variety of friends, and that makes me really happy. So that's what's been on my mind lately, is this idea of the public persona versus the authentic human being. And I strive so much in life to surround myself with authentic human beings. And one of my favorite things is when someone, even someone that I've just met or just started corresponding with, will start a sentence with, "This may seem ruthless," or "This may seem extreme," or "I know this is an unpopular opinion, but," and then they share their true thoughts. Because to me, that tells me that folks are comfortable talking to me about how they really feel. They don't feel like they have to yes me. And they feel like they can present their ideas. And those ideas might be different than my own, sometimes even polar opposites of my own. But if I see the value in that story, they know I'm going to greenlight their project and I'm going to move forward and work with them and support them as storytellers. So that's what's been on my mind this week. And this is my very not glamorous me. So thanks for listening, you guys. I'll see you next time.